broadcast on. All right, call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Here.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Here.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Wade Kuntz.
Here.
Councilmember Todd.
Here.
Councilmember Saper.
Here.
Councilmember McGrone. Here. Councilmember Smith.
Here.
And I lied to you. You're not leading the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. You'll catch a break here. We got Troop 1354. You're going to lead us in the pledge this evening. I almost spaced on that. See, there we go. Welcome.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. All right, next item is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item is comments from the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak this evening, please step up to the podium. And no one from 1354? No? Okay. There we go. Comments from the public is done. Next item is consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Taking us to item number 11, Northland Assistance Center update on emergency cold weather housing and emergency lodging. And we have Rita Pierce here this evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. I've left you all a sheet, a bullet point sheet, to make this as short as I can because I saw how short the agenda was. So trying to make it easy. Bottom line is we're going to run out of money. And I've explained to you in this how we're going to run out of money. I have 27 rooms filled right now. It looks like, according to the MOU, temperature-wise, if I were to extend that for another week, that would cost $11,576.25. I broke down what it costs by night and by week. By week, as I've explained before, is always cheaper. We right now, and that's not counting the 5 people I put in since I set this thing together, so there's probably, I said there was a remaining of, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it through this season with the money that we have left. Just been an extraordinary weather. I've done everything I can because I've been asked by the council, how do we vet out Jackson County from non-Jackson County? And there is no definition of homeless, so that's nearly impossible. But what I have done is partnered with Turning Point. I don't know if any of you are familiar with them, but if you're not, you need to be. They're on Inglewood Road, and they serve the homeless. They serve breakfast and lunch. They have a warming center. They provide clothes and things like that. But they also can vet homeless people. They've worked with the homeless for a long time. They know the homeless from the Jackson County homeless and the Northland homeless as best as can be done. Cannot hold anybody's feet to the fire. And I also require a homeless letter from them directly. I do not accept homeless letters from Jackson County. I send them, as much as it kills me, back across the river because they're obviously from Jackson County if that's where they got the homeless letter. And I'm requesting valid Missouri IDs. I'm not taking out-of-state IDs. This is not in the MOU. These are things I imposed myself, realizing that we're going to run out of funds eventually. And so I've done everything I can to restrict the number of people who are qualified to have those rooms. But there is just an abundance of cold weather. So I am asking the council to consider granting another $10,000. That will get us not only through this next period of cold weather, but still leave us a little money in the bank in the event that we have some off and on kinds of cold days. Again, that's fluid. I have no idea what it's going to be like in February and March. Did look at long range. It looks better, but then who would have predicted 3 weeks of, sub-zero weather? Do you have any questions?
One question, I guess,
Yes,
for
sir.
now. So the majority of these funds have been for cold weather, not the other emergency.
All for cold
lodging.
weather.
All for cold weather.
I have
Okay,
the 35,000 cold weather, 5,000
Yep.
for the other. I've spent less than 1,000 of the 5,000.
Okay.
That is something we might consider if we run out if you approve this money. We can talk about that later. I'm just trying to get through into next week and a few days after that as the forecast is. The way I look at it now, I will have everybody in the hotel until Thursday. I may kick them out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or not, depending, and then bring them back in for another week. again, every day I get up and the weather's changed and they're changing, and so,
Yeah, and it's been really cold here the last few. Okay, council member questions. Oh, there, Councilmember Alvarez.
Just a quick question. So you have 21 rooms right now?
27 right now. I have put more people in. This is a report as of the 1st, and I assume that the next couple of days that we're open, we'll be open through Thursday. I'll probably be putting more qualified people in there. So this is, like I said, 10,000 is my best guess. I don't know. I don't want to ask for more than we need. I don't want to return money to the city. I do not think that's going to be an issue this year.
Okay, and the Turning Point, that's like a warming center, can they stay overnight there?
No,
Is
it's
that
a
just-
warming center. There are no
That's great.
overnight facilities in the entire Northland. And every facility, I talked to the head of like homeless stuff in Jackson County, she called me yesterday. They're putting beds in, they're frankly violating fire codes, just to stuff as many bodies as they can in. I don't think that anybody realizes what the situation is and the homeless situation is. And Jackson County is not my problem. I don't think people realize what the homeless situation is in the Northland. And I don't know how we can get attention of these people, but you guys, and as I said a million times, I can't tell you, and my clients can't tell you how much they appreciate it. I processed 21 people one day, and not every one of them was in tears or so grateful you wouldn't even believe it. I've encouraged the council to come and see what goes on when we have these big periods of cold weather, so you can see that there is absolute gratitude. We've also fed all these people. Now, the good news is, I'm not going to talk long, but I wanted to share this with you. We get food from Panera's and from Pizza Hut for my agency. Somehow, somebody bigger than me gave us like way more food than we usually get. We dropped off 300 sandwiches and 20 pizzas to the front desk of the American Inn to be distributed amongst the people we have there. So we're feeding them. We just can't house them unless I get more money.
Perfect. Appreciate that. So your ultimate ask here is for an additional allocation of $10,000.
Yes, sir.
Right, as I'm reading this. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Go back to council again. Any comments, concerns, questions, motion to allocate $10,000? Staff comments, what do we got? Councilmember Smith.
Can you remind me the amount we allocated? It was 35?
35,000 for emergency lodging, 5,000 for first responder request, and minus the 5% for the 35 and 5% for the 5,000
Okay.
for administrative costs.
And what was the criteria that were laid out? I don't,
25 degrees or less,
that was the backstop, 25 degrees.
or less.
And if there's a 25-degree day, say it's 20 degrees, somebody comes in and requests lodging, are we putting them in there for a week?
No, I do it day by day, but, which I've always done. If you've heard the reports that, Mr. Nichols has indicated, I don't put them in for a week. But in this particular circumstance, as you can see, it's cheaper to put them in for a week, and the weather is a week's long of appropriate weather. I try to use this money in a judicious manner and save as much as I can, but I have put them in for 2 nights, 3 nights, 4 nights. If you put them in for 5 nights, it costs as much as a week. I've said that before, but that's not even up for discussion now because everybody who's in there is there for a week because of the weather, and we'll be in for another week starting Friday.
So the memo we've got here says 21 rooms. I know you mentioned 27.
It was dated January 1st.
Yep. So we're at 27. How does that change the numbers that are here?
There will be, if I put everybody up for another week, I have not had time to do the math, I just got off work a little bit ago, but 27 rooms for another week will be $11,576.25.
So I've got a paragraph here that says estimated, this is with 21 rooms. The estimated total cost of allowing these individuals to remain the next week and 3 more days is $13,800. Now we got another
got-
6.
We have 6 more, and that's not the end of it, Council Member Smith. We are going to have people coming in through the rest of this week, I can assure you, that will
So-
be qualified.
So I guess my question would be, if we've allocated 35, how are we placing people without, like, do we not pay up front?
We pay up front. We pay it on our company credit card.
So we have a deficit?
We will have a deficit. It says leaving a deficit of, and that was on the 1st. On the 1st of the month, if I allowed 21 people to stay there, plus 3 days, that would be $13,800, leaving a deficit of $5,200.
So as of today, you have a positive balance, but once
Right.
all these,
Today I
once all
have a
these bills
positive.
clear, then you'll be at a deficit.
Right.
Okay,
At the end, if we put everybody up for another week,
yeah.
I could not afford, our agency can't make up the difference.
Okay. I mean, I would support allocating more dollars. What do we got? Who's it? Oh, Councilmember Todd, then we'll go Councilmember Saper.
Not a question, just to say I'm in support of allocating more funds, especially with the cold weather upcoming. My only concern is whether 10,000 will be enough. I'm concerned that we might need to allocate more.
Frankly, we would. But when I put this together, and also not, I think that 15,000 would be appropriate, and that would get us through. But again, it's fluid. I made my report to Mr. Nichols before this meeting, and knowing that there'd be more rooms. So 15,000 we'd spend every dollar of that.
Next few weeks look brutal on the temperature. Councilmember Saper.
I move we allocate an additional $15,000 for this project. There's no second.
Okay, what was the, sorry, say that one more time.
I made a motion to allocate $15,000.
Okay, Councilmember Saper has made a motion to allocate $15,000 to the cold weather program. Councilmember, please.
What other funding sources do you have for helping with cold weather?
None. We're a very small agency.
What other funding sources are you pursuing?
I'm going to work with North Kansas City Hospital in the very near future. Right now, there are no other funding sources. There are very few funding sources in the Northland for not-for-profits at all.
So I am in favor of not making people freeze on the street, obviously. Nobody is in favor of that. But what I think, my concern is, we're going to allocate $15,000. That will get us through a week,
No,
2
more
weeks.
than that. It'll get us through more than
So
that.
we've already spent $35,000.
No, we have already spent, on the first, $24,686.85 as of the first.
Okay, and as of the 13th, you will have spent $40,200.
No, I will not. No, you're not reading this correctly, and you have to remember that
Because you
this
said a
is,
deficit of $5,200.
I said if, as this report is on the 21st, and we kept everybody, the
Which-
21 we had on the 1st, another week and 3 days, which is what the weather indicated, that at the
Then you would have
weekly
a
rate.
deficit of $5,200, which means you have spent to that
Right,
date,
that's right,
$40,200.
correct.
We allocate another $15,000, that gets you through 2 weeks. That gets you through mid-January. What are we going to do for the rest of this cold weather season? Because last February, we had 3 weeks of sub-zero temperature. We are just now starting to get into the really cold weather. I think we need to come up with some sort of plan. I think you need to come up with some sort of plan. Somebody, I don't know if we need to reach out to other organizations. I don't know what we need to do. But I don't know that we can keep giving all of this. We don't know what the limit is. And you've got more and more people coming to get housed to North Kansas City because we're providing that service, which is wonderful that we provide that service, but we aren't an unlimited fount of money that we could use to provide that service. If the community wants to comment and say, we support giving as much money as needed to this, then I would welcome them to come and leave public comments. Because at this point, I want to help, but I don't know how much you're going to need, and I don't know how much we can continue to give. I think, allocating some money now, absolutely, because we could have a great weather turnaround, and then maybe we don't need any more. But I don't anticipate that, so I think that we need to come up with something other than Rita having to come to us every other council meeting and asking for $15,000.
And that would be Northland Assistance Center coming.
Right, I mean, but you,
Thank
not you
you. I
personally.
appreciate that.
As the
I
representative
just- yes,
of
I just
Northland
like to make
Assistance
that
Center.
clear. Because it does get muddied, and I
Yeah.
understand that since I live and work here.
Absolutely.
And I agree with you. I don't have a solution to this, but I can assure you that I'll be there at 18 years in July. I have tried to work with other agencies and things. Nobody cares about these people. I'm going to tell you that just flat out. We're the only people, that's why I always compliment the consuls that have approved monies. You know, nobody cares. I do finally have someone that I might be working with. There are no promises there. And that's the first time I've had anybody reach out to me, and I've reached out to them. But there are no agencies are going to do that. There's warming places all over the place. But nobody wants anybody to spend the night. Not in their church, not in their, Gladstone almost approved letting people stay in their community center. That got squashed. Every time they make a step forward, no matter where it's at, in the Northland or in Johnson County or in Jackson County, where they can house people, somebody stymies it.
No. What's she, no, behind you, Crystal, I was gonna see. If you could check what she wanted. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, I know, we volunteered quite a bit at Turning Point.
Mr. Burke.
Get a mic.
Please, there might be a solution here. Yeah, we'll do this real quick, and then, yeah.
No, she mentioned the Turning Point, and
Yeah.
that's something that, as a troop, that we have volunteered at. My son and I actually were just there at the food pantry Saturday morning, helping people. I think they had almost 100 people come through in the time we were there for like 2 hours, getting groceries before the storm. But from what I've heard, is they are as well are trying to get to where they can have people stay overnight, and no one's working with them. The city is basically saying we don't need to do this. And so it's a fight that they've been, I know, working on. So I don't know if that's another group to work with, or the city of Gladstone to say, hey, this is what we're seeing. But I know living in Gladstone and being in the Northland and what the work that we've done with the Turning Point is they are trying to let people be there overnight. You drive by that area, you see all the people walking, to and from when services are there, because it's a great service and they offer what they can. So
Appreciate
anyway,
you.
just
Thank you.
they're trying, and I'm like you are.
And
Thank you.
I
No,
partner with them every day.
It definitely sounds like we need to talk, some larger solutions overall at times. And please let us know how we can, contribute and help facilitate some of those conversations, because those are important conversations we all need to be having.
And you're right.
It's much more complex than just this program and just North Kansas City.
Every time we run into
Yeah.
something like this, I hope I can get more people to the table, so we'll see.
Yeah. No, and sometimes we can help with that. So
Thank you.
There we go. Let me
Appreciate
know. Okay, there was a motion, Councilmember Smith.
So Rita, thank you for the work you do. I'm going to need to get through this next bit without any interruptions, all right? Thank you. So I grade against us not caring, or anyone not caring for not funding something. There's a lot of people who care, and this is a very, very complicated, very complex situation, and any amount of money we allocate will get spent. We could allocate $200,000, and there will be need, and people will find the source, and it'll get spent. We have to find a limit. Homeless shelters around the metro have natural limits. They have bed limits. They have fire codes. They have to stop at a certain point. And then the next day they can take different people. But with this, we don't have a natural limit. We have to put a backstop on it, or it can become, like you said, every other meeting it'll be another 15 or 20. So I don't have a number in mind. I know 15 doesn't get us there. But we have to set a number and then say that's it for the cold season. So there wouldn't be another council meeting where we have people who are in the hotel, and if we as a council decide not to fund it, we are effectively sending them out. That's a bad spot to be. And that's this feel right here is they're in the hotel. They've been booked to the very final dollar on this, maybe even beyond. And now it's on us to say yes or no. And if we say no, those people go out in the cold. And that's a tough spot as a council to be in, where we can't feasibly say no. And I don't want to be there again. I don't want to be at that spot again. So let's figure out a number that gets us, or it gives you some solidarity, some clarity with what's left in the coffers, and I'm open to discussions on what that number is.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Just have a quick question.
Sure.
I think in the past, if you had money left over, you offered to return it.
I returned almost $10,000 last year, and we had between the two grants, $40,000, but that was an exceptional year. I had spent most of it up until February, and then actually there were a few cold days in February, and then there were no more cold days. So I gave back over $9,000 according to our MOU. So I did not spend all the money last time, and if I don't, I could return it.
I think what does make the specific number tricky at times is just the variable of how many cold days we end up having. Like, that's where it makes it hard to say, like, look, this is the number, and then it just ends. Because, yeah, we're still going to be in the same predicament. You could say, yeah, you come back and we're just going to tell you no, but that doesn't really solve the problem either. So, yeah, no, it's very difficult. But we did have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Saper's motion for 15. There we go. Now there's a second. Further comments? If not,
I
Councilmember
guess
Clark.
when this gets communicated, I guess it is tricky because in some ways it's kind of like the people that are staying saying, here's the funding we have available for you now. We do need you to look for alternatives. Because I know the numbers have increased from last year and the year before that. Like, it's more and more people coming and being aware that this is an opportunity, to say, hey, we know we can find shelter here, and that's great. We definitely don't want anyone dying on our streets. Like, that doesn't solve any problems. And I think we had someone recently who perished in our community. So I think we need to get to the point, though, like to Jesse's point, to Councilmember Smith's point of, so we're not sitting at, hey, they're about to get checked out on Friday and they're just going to be spilled into the streets, and then maybe the police have to deal with them because maybe they're throwing rocks through windows to make sure that they get some sort of shelter, because it has happened, right? This is obviously more affordable than going to prison, actually. It's like $90 a night, I think, to go to the jail. You can give me a nod or no or close. Okay, I got a wink. I won't give it away. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny. But yeah, I feel like we fund it, but there needs to be a messaging of like this. There has to be something where it's kind of like this is only funded to a point, because we could honestly go to 100. It could keep going. We have no idea. I don't know. I haven't kept track of all the weather. Neither has Rita. To know how long this is going to last. I'm sure those that are living on the streets don't know how long this weather's going to last. It's very frightening. But we are there to save lives, but not make everything comfortable, for people, not just to make everything super cozy, comfy, but just kind of say, this is an emergency response. So I don't know. I guess I'm just talking in circles, because if we're at 15 and we're voting for 15, we're not exploring more. If we're ready to vote on that, I guess, I would approve 15. So if we want to take it around to see, since that's first and seconded.
Sorry, was your motion to have staff bring back an amended contract, adding an additional $15,000? Was that what I heard?
Yes, exactly
Okay. Tom has a question.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, what you might want to consider doing, because of the, next council meeting's not until January the 21st. What you might want to consider doing is, whatever the number is, that there be a motion to amend the existing contract between the city and Northland Assistance Center by X number of dollars to be used exclusively for emergency cold weather housing and lodging, and authorizing the mayor to sign that agreement effective, tomorrow or what have you. That would require them to sign it as well, and it would be a simple amendment to the agreement so that there would already be something, in place so that the funds can be made available sooner is what it sounds like is needed.
Yeah, so, maybe I misheard you again, Councilmember. Could you clarify your motion one more? Was that it right there? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. And are we still a good second on that clarified motion there? I appreciate the work on that. Not seeing any other hands at the moment. We'll take a vote on this. Oh, Councilmember Fitzgerald.
This is just purely a question. I was thinking, Did you say before there's no other shelters or there's no shelters in the Northland?
No overnight shelters.
whatsoever?
At all.
Just out of curiosity, do we have any insight on what, like Gladstone or Riverside or just other communities north of the river?
Well, I'll
are
answer you
doing?
quick because I don't want you to have to be here forever. Gladstone, starting, like, as she said, Turning Point was working with the city of Gladstone. They thought they had everything under control prior to cold weather, and then Gladstone City Council vetoed it after they seemed favorable to it. I don't know what to tell you. We're all working on it, but every time we think we come up with things, and that was like this close to being approved, city councils deny it. So I don't know what to say. Maybe we'll look at our YMCA. I imagine they will deny it too. There's insurance and all kinds of other things that go into it. I'm not criticizing Gladstone, don't get me wrong. But there are many of us who are actually trying to find other resources. They're just not there.
Thank you. I was just curious about that, so. I
Yeah,
appreciate
that's
it.
exactly. Thank you for asking that question.
Thank you. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you
Thank
very
you for the
much.
present. Thank you. Now I've lost my jaw and I ripped it apart. There's only like 3 items. It can't be that hard. Boom. Number 12, on-car architectural and planning services. Is this one going to be a brief?
Yes,
Okay.
very, very. As you recall, at the last meeting, we discussed RFQ and the process for the Animal Control Center. Through more discussion, we're also in need, our on-call agreement with architect and planning services has expired. So through some more discussion, the kind of thought was, why not, say, capture 2 birds with one net instead of. But the thought being that
You work on that all week?
Well, no, I changed it right there, and it
Okay.
shows, doesn't it?
Okay.
But we wanted to get council's thought on that. It still serve the same purpose as far as the Animal Control Center.
Yeah.
It's still the architect and all that. It'd be more of a task order, but it saves us, from doing 2 RFQs versus 1. Now, there's other services that would still, I think, be needed for the animal control
Yeah,
sites.
So at least the animal control, you eventually need full architectural design and all that.
Right.
So you'd go out to bid for that. That makes sense. This kind of came about looking at how we did, the Parks and Rec building and stuff, and having one of these like multidisciplinary firms, which we might end up getting something out of this RFP to that effect.
Right.
Would be good, because then you can task order that for a lower amount, and they can help facilitate aspects of the process. So that's kind of where that came from, and we need this service anyways, so there we go.
I don't know that we necessarily need a motion. I wanted to get a head nod or
Is there
make sure there's
denial?
not
Does
any
anybody hate
concern.
this? Oh, that's, okay.
We'll proceed.
Then we'll move on to the, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Is this wrong? Am I missing a page here? Item 13, approving accounts due and payable by the city through January 3rd, 2025, bill number 7898, ordinance number 9695.
First reading.
Second.
All in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed, say no. Motion carries.
An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through January 3rd, 2025.
I move that bill number 7898 be placed on second and final reading and passes ordinance number 9695.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Wade Coons.
Yes.
Councilmember Todd.
Yes.
Councilmember Saper.
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone.
Yes.
Councilmember
Yes.
Smith. An ordinance authorizing payment for certain accounts due and payable by the city through January 3rd, 2025.
There we go, staff comments.
The only comments tonight, I think Crystal and Kim.
We are getting ready to launch a new product. Well, it's not a new product, but it's part of the peak agenda. We kind of talked about it during the review process you all had with me. They do not have a phone app for the agenda. However, we're asking for everybody to bring their iPads in, and there is a new product called iLegislate, which will allow you to bring the agenda up, and you'll be able to go in and like make notes and things so that you can look at them while you're here, if that's what you want. So if you guys will just,
Does anybody
Call-
use their iPad? Okay, there's a few. Okay. We're about 50-50. Okay.
So if
I'm
you
just
guys
curious.
could call Stephen, or if you have your own personal laptops or stuff that you
Yeah.
want, if you will call and make arrangements with Stephen and bring them in, then he'll load it all on there for you, and we'll give you your passwords and all of that.
Perfect, thank you.
Sorry they don't have a phone app. I tried. Well, Mallory tried. We tried.
technical ops side
Mallory
of-
did the legwork.
Thank you for the update. Please.
Just real quick, that we have another Citizens Academy coming up. It is filling up fast, so if anybody out there would like to attend, please sign up online quickly.
When does that start?
It starts in April. I don't
Very
have the
nice.
date. It's after the election,
Very good.
and after Snake Saturday, which is probably the biggest, time driver of when the academy is held.
Perfect. Further staff comments. Anthony Sands has something. All this snow plowing, you don't have nothing to say.
You know, I will say one thing, actually. I do want to thank, there's been multiple businesses that have reached out to us and have offered to feed our crews, offer discounts at their locations for food and at different times. And so I just want to kind of take this opportunity to put that out there and say thank you, because that's been a big, big help.
When did our crews start working?
So they started the night the storm started, and they've been working 12-hour shifts off and on, back to back. They're going to keep going. It's a very difficult storm to fight. Obviously, we would like to be able to clear it curb to curb, but that's really hard to do with this kind of storm. So they're just going to keep going, keep plowing, removing material too, which is kind of unique, and we're kind of running out of places to put it. But we're going to keep at it and nonstop till we can get to curb to curb is the goal. But, yeah.
Can we name any of the businesses that have offered to help? I know they didn't do it for publicity, which makes it even more useful to name them.
Yeah, if that's all right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe. Keep-
Well, I know you have one, so I'll.
Oh,
wait
no,
for
no,
that
no,
one,
no.
but
Let 'em all. Just
Hawaiian
let it rip.
Brothers has offered food. Pizza Tassio and Harrah's has reached out and had lodged some of our workers overnight when they could not get back to their residence. So
Beautiful. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, I was going to call him, but I'll get in trouble. There we go. Councilmember comments. Councilmember Fitzgerald.
I almost kind of echo those comments, but thank you to the crews clearing the roads. I know that's appreciated by me and hopefully everybody in Northtown, so.
Thank you. Councilmember Alvarez.
Yeah, I just want to thank Troop 1354, is that right, for saying the Pledge of Allegiance. She's already left, but I want to thank Rita Pierce for all the work that she does. It's not an easy job, easy place to be, but still, I think she works tirelessly and does a good job. I also wanted to say shout out to our Public Works crew and Anthony and how well they cleared the streets for us in our neighborhood. It was one of the, from different people I've talked to in different neighborhoods, it was one of the ones that were cleared out more than several other neighborhoods. So I think they did a great job. So I really appreciate the work they do. And just shout out, I mentioned, I think, is that Roger Wagner is retiring, and there's a retirement thing ceremony on the 9th for him at 2 o'clock, right? Okay, at the fire station. And that's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Clark.
I would also echo, way to go, Troop 1354. Thanks for giving me the number. And and a big shout out to those companies, Hawaiian Brothers, Harrah's, and I missed the third one because we all jumped on the fact that food and lodging was provided from Harrah's. We thought it was so
I'm
awesome.
sorry, and I actually missed one too. So it's Pizza Tassio,
Oh, Pizza Tassio.
Hawaiian
Way to go.
Brothers, Chicken and Pickle.
Chicken and Pickle.
And then Harrah's was actually
And
offered.
Harrah's.
no,
Way to
lodging.
go. That is huge. I love to hear when the community steps up and helps their own. In Public Works, big shout out to you guys. My residents, I know on my block, we're super stoked because we still live near the hospital and it becomes an emergency snow route. So we got nice and cleared off. It was pretty great, pretty great. There was one other thing. Oh yeah, big shout out to Rita and Northland Assistance Center. I know it is so tricky. We're trying to think of things. I feel like we have to move this up to kind of the Clay County level to say, this is something that's obviously not been tackled. It's really reaching out of our hands because, of course, Rita is just over at Northland going, hey, somebody shows up and they're freezing cold. I'm going to help lodge them, and she's coming to us. So I think we all need to kind of
get our hands in the game and figure out some long-term and more sustainable solutions.
Thank you. Councilmember Watkins.
All right, echo everything that has been said thus far. Thank you to the crews. Thank you, Troop 1354. And for everyone, stay safe, stay warm as much as possible.
Thank you. Councilmember Todd.
Really just, is my microphone on, echoing everyone else? I can't hear myself. I like to hear myself. So yeah, just thanks for all the hard work. Appreciate it. Have a great night.
Thank you. Councilmember Safer.
Thanks to the entire city staff for a blazingly well-done response to the snow blizzard that we had. Thank you all.
Thank you. Councilmember Graham.
I just want to say kudos to our community for helping each other during this snow event. We had so many people offer to shovel driveways and get people out of stuck, get their cars unstuck, and just driving all over town and just helping out and volunteering, not expecting any form of payment. I had a couple of people comment that it just renewed their faith in humanity, that there are so many good people, and I think it's often very easy to forget that most people are good, and we see so much negativity that we think that is the world, and that isn't the world. Events like this really showcase that we are so much better than people give us credit for, I think, sometimes. And also, huge thanks to Public Works. You guys were incredible. We saw you guys driving around a lot. My husband loves to drive in the snow, so sometimes it was us and you on the road, and Swift Street was great at 3 in the morning when we decided to go out and see what was going on. So that was a lot of fun. And Hawaiian Brothers, Chicken and Pickle, Pizza Tasio, and Harrah's, you guys are amazing. And so are all of the businesses here in North Kansas City. This is a hard time of year for all small businesses, so please get out and support local as much as you can.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Councilmember Smith.
All of that, literally what my first point was. So thank you to all the Public Works and businesses. Also want to shout out GFL. I did not expect my trash to get picked up today at all. And not only did they get trash, but also recycling. I'm not sure if they made it around the entire city, but looks like our neighborhood.
Yes, and actually, if I could add one more thing, they are going to try to come back around tomorrow to pick up things that they couldn't today. So another opportunity. So please, yeah, if you can, get something out of the curb, they will be around.
Yeah, that was incredible and unexpected. So shout out to the drivers and the guys tipping the cans as well. Additionally, thanks to Rita for what she does. I know this is an impossible situation. If anyone in the community has ideas or resources or ways that you think that you can solve this problem with us, please reach out. This is something that we all have to have a hand in helping with. A lot of people have a lot of ideas, a lot of things to throw around on social media or feedback to give, but let's get together on this. Like, let's actually do something as a community. And then the last one, speaking on seeing the community come together, just want to shout out one person I saw just do amazing work is a guy named Mark Keelman. I don't know Mark, but he was out last night till like 9 or 10 p.m. shoveling driveways for complete strangers, just anyone who asked. So, way to go, Mark.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you again, Troop 1354. Great job, and you got a good night tonight to come to the meeting. Most kids aren't as fortunate, and they end up with a much longer experience. But we'll get you out of here a little bit quicker. Of course, thanks to all those business partners you mentioned. It was refreshing to see a text from Julie the other day offering that up, and of course we were able to take advantage of that, so that was fantastic. Thank you to our Public Works crew, been just working around the clock. Always thank you to our public safety folks who have been out there 24/7 as well, prepared to help everyone at a moment's notice through all this as well. And then we have folks like that work over in the water treatment plant that sometimes don't get the shout out as well, making sure our water is going as well. So across the board, good job. I think we've done a good job of getting information out, doing all the good stuff. So appreciate all the work across the board on the winter weather. With that, small business have been hit. It is holiday weather. So get out and support our small businesses. We got plenty of options here in North Kansas City. You can spread it amongst all of them. So there we go. Get out and support small businesses. Other than that, we're done. We'll go to executive session here. You want to read these or you want me to read these? Okay.
Consideration of a request to hold in recess into an executive session is requested by the city administrator to be held on this date on a real estate matter pursuant to Missouri Revised Statutes, Section 610-0212.
So move.
Call the roll, please.
Who was the second?
Clark.
Who was the first?
It was a Ward 4.
Ward 4 representing.
I'm telling you. Councilmember Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Yes.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Wade Coons,
Yes.
Councilmember Todd,
Yes.
Councilmember Saper,
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
Consideration of a request to hold in recess into an executive session is requested by the city councilor to be held on this date on a real estate matter pursuant to Missouri Revised Statute, Section 610-0212.
So move.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
We expect y'all to match next time too.
We try our best.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Wade Coons.
Yes.
Councilmember Todd.
Yes.
Councilmember Saper.
Yes.
Councilmember McGrone.
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
With that, Channel 2 will cut off, the live stream on YouTube will cut off. There'll be no further public business or votes taken this evening. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Shout out to Riker and Max. Way to